This video is about Anubis judges souls in Hall of Two Truths but heart balance fails. If this myth excites you, please like the video, share it with friends, and write in the comments how it pulled you into the adventure. In the realm of Jurat, where the sun sets and the moon rises in harmony, a great silence enveloped the Hall of Two Truths. The walls shimmered with ethereal light, casting shadows that danced like restless spirits. This sacred domain was ruled by Anubis, the jackal-headed god, whose keen gaze pierced the very essence of souls. It was here that the fate of the departed was decided, where hearts were weighed against the feather of Mat, goddess of truth, to determine their worthiness for eternity. On an evening when the stars aligned in an ominous configuration, foretelling doom, a ripple of tension coursed through Jurat. Anubis, with his somber demeanor, stood before the grand scale, the golden feather glinting under the ghostly light. Today, the souls of countless warriors, both brave and cowardly, awaited the judgment. Among them was Khepri, a once great pharaoh who had led his people into battle, but at the cost of his honor. As Khepri approached, he felt the weight of his choices bearing down on him. Memories of blood-stained fields and cries of agony flooded his mind. Anubis, he implored, his voice trembling with regret, I fought for my country, but I have blood on my hands that stains my soul. I do not seek forgiveness, but understanding. Anubis regarded him with a gaze that seemed both merciful and unyielding. Every heart bears the burden of its choices. Khepri stepped forth and faced the truth that lies within. With a deep breath, Khepri stepped onto the scale, the feather hovering above him, waiting to descend. As his heart was placed in balance, a flicker of doubt crossed Anubis's face. A divine ripple echoed through the whole, a sinister omen of imbalance. The feather began to sink, the scale stepping perilously. Your heart is heavy with the weight of betrayal, Anubis declared, his voice resonating like thunder in the hall, sending chills through the gathered spirits. Khepri's once proud visage crumbled, his eyes wide with despair. You sacrificed the innocent for glory, and the cries of the forsaken echo still. Suddenly, a voice slithered through the air like a serpent. It was Set, the god of chaos, his presence darker than the shadows themselves. Ah, Anubis, why not let the pharaoh linger in the twilight of his sins? Is this not the fate we all deserve? His laughter rolled like distant thunder. Silence set. Anubis commanded, his voice as sharply cutting through the chaos. This is the Hall of Two Truths, not a theater for your malicious games. Destiny must be served. Set's smile widened, revealing sharp teeth as he stepped closer, casting a shadow upon the scale. But destiny is a fickle mistress, is she not? Perhaps we should play a different game entirely. With a swift gesture, Set conjured a tempest of chaos that swirled around the hall, disrupting the solemnity of the judgment. Feather trembled, caught between the forces of light and darkness. Spirits gasped, their fate teetering on the edge of oblivion. Anubis, unfazed, tightened his grip on the sacred scepter, channeling the raw energy of Mat. Let the will of the gods command the scales. Anubis shouted, summoning a blinding light that cascaded over the chamber like a waterfall of stars. The feather steadied, holding its ground against the tempestuous winds of Set's chaos. Yet, unbeknownst to them both, the balance was already awry. As the winds roared, a soul emerged from the shadows. Sethai, a warrior who had once fought by Khepri's side. Though long perished, his spirit was tethered to the mortal realm, unyielding in his pursuit of redemption. Khepri, he cried, his voice echoing like a battle horn. You must embrace your truth, fight for your soul. Khepri's heart surged with renewed hope, and he shouted back, but how can I? I am burdened by my past. What redemption remains for a pharaoh who led his people to ruin? Redemption is forged in the fires of truth. Sethai roared, his spirit brightening, illuminating the darkness around them. Face the darkness within, and let the scales bear witness to your courage. Emboldened, Khepri focused within, unearthing memories buried deep. He saw the faces of those he had betrayed, the innocent children and grieving mothers. With each recollection, his heart grew heavier, but beneath the weight a flicker of light ignited. The truth was not just in the bloodshed, but in the resolve to rise anew. Anubis, I do not seek to deny my sins, but to embrace them. I will not falter in my judgment. Khepri declared, his voice resonating with newfound strength. The scales quivered, the feather caught in the balance of his resolve. Anubis's eyes gleamed with approval. Then let your truth be revealed. He raised his scepter, channeling divine energy towards Khepri, encircling him in a radiant aura. The tempest stilled, and Set's laughter turned to a growl, his power diminished in the face of honor. Foolish pharaoh, Set hissed, frustration lacing his words. You think you can change your fate? The gods have decreed your doom. Fate is not a chain, but a path we carve. Khepri shouted, determination coursing through him like wildfire. I will not be defined by my past, I will redefine my future. With a final surge of energy, Kepri forged his spirit into a shield, embracing the weight of his sins while holding the truth of his courage close. The scales, radiant in their divine light, began to tilt back, the feather ascending as the heart found its balance. Yet in that moment of triumph, a chilling laughter echoed, a whisper of betrayal woven into the fabric of destiny. A shadow flickered at the edges of the hall, revealing a lurking figure, a monstrous beast, the embodiment of Set's chaos, summoned to disrupt the delicate balance. "Your victory shall be short-lived, Pharaoh," it roared, its voice a cacophony of snarls and growls. "For every truth you seek to uncover, I shall unleash a darkness to consume it." Kepri, heart racing, felt the fury of the beast wash over him. "Anubis, guide me. Together, we can conquer the shadow." The god nodded, summoning the power of the sacred scepter. "We will face this abomination together, Kepri. Stand firm, for in unity lies our strength." The ground trembled as the beast lunged, its claws raking through the air. Kepri summoned all his courage, igniting a light within that radiated against the darkness. Anubis, the god of the dead, stood resolute beside him, ready for battle. "By the power of Mat and the truth within, we will banish the chaos." Anubis roared, striking the scepter against the ground, unleashing waves of divine energy that clashed against the dark beast. Kepri, drawing on the memories of his fallen comrades, charged forward, embodying the spirit of a warrior reborn. For honor and redemption, he cried, striking the creature with a force fueled by his newfound strength. The hall echoed with the clash of divine and darkness as the battle raged, the scales still trembling as destiny hung in the balance. In that moment, Kepri realized the true nature of his quest, to reclaim not only his soul but the souls of all those lost in the shadows of his past. As the tempest of battle whirled around them, Anubis and Kepri fought side by side, their hearts beating in synchrony with the power of truth. Together, they embodied the essence of perseverance against the overwhelming odds of destiny and chaos, leading them into the heart of an epic confrontation that would echo through eternity. But as the shadows swirled and the battle raged, they knew that the Hall of Two Truths held secrets yet to be unveiled, and the struggle had only just begun. As the clash of divine and chaos echoed throughout the Hall of Two Truths, Kepri's heart raced like a tempest. The darkness of the beast swirled around him, its monstrous form a grotesque mockery of life and death, howling with the despair of souls lost in the void. Anubis stood beside him, the embodiment of order amidst the chaos, his scepter aglow with the light of Mat, casting a shield against the encroaching darkness. "Together, Pharaoh, strike with the truth buried in your heart," Anubis urged, his voice powerful yet calming, a beacon amid the swirling shadows. Kepri nodded, drawing deeply on the strength of the memories that buoyed his spirit. The faces of those he had betrayed, the innocent lives lost in the throes of war, flashed before him. They were his burden, but also his motivation. "For them I will not falter," he shouted, charging forward with renewed vigor. The beast lunged, snapping its jaws with a cacophony of teeth and malice. Kepri spun, ducking just beneath the creature's lethal maw, and struck with his sword, feeling the edge sear against the dark flesh. The beast recoiled, but the wound only seemed to ignite its rage. "Foolish Pharaoh, your strikes only serve to fuel my power," it bellowed, its voice a dark symphony that reverberated through the hall. The shadows thickened, coiling like serpents around Kepri's legs, dragging him closer to the abyss. "Anubis, the shadows—" Kepri gasped, struggling against the binding tendrils that threatened to pull him under. "Summon your light, Kepri, let it burn away the darkness." Anubis shouted, raising his scepter high, invoking the timeless power of Mat. Light surged forth, a radiant wave that cut through the shadows like a sword through silk, severing the tendrils that ensnared Kepri. With a fierce cry, Kepri steadied himself, the light illuminating the hall as if revealing a hidden realm. He pushed against the shadows, the truth of his actions lifting him like wings. "You are nothing but a reflection of my past," he bellowed, striking again, each swing fueled by the fire of remembrance, the laughter of children, the smiles of those he had saved. The beast snarled, its eyes narrowing with contempt. "Your valor is a flicker against my tempest. I will consume your truth, and from your ashes I will rise." It lunged again, claws shooting the air, but Kepri was ready. With a powerful thrust, he brought his sword down, empowered by Anubis's divine light. The blade struck true, carving through the creature's chest, a flash of brilliance erupting from the wound. The beast howled, a sound that echoed like thunder, writhing in agony as the light began to dispel the shadows that cloaked it. "Now is the time, Kepri, make your final stand," Anubis decreed, rallying the spirits that swirled around them, their whispers echoing the need for resolution. Kepri felt a surge of energy as the spirit's courage flowed into him. He recalled the honor of his people, the sacrifices made for the greater good. For the innocent, he cried, unleashing one final blow, a culmination of all he had learned and all he had lost. The sword pierced the heart of the beast, a blinding flash erupting as darkness shattered into a spectrum of light. The creature as form dissipated into tendrils of shadow, swirling away like mist before the dawn. The hull brightened, the oppressive weight of chaos lifting as the spirits roared in triumph. Yet as the echoes of victory faded, Capri felt the ground tremble beneath him, a massive fissure cracking open, threatening to swallow all that had been redeemed. "Anubis, what is this?" he shouted, panic surging through him as the hull began to fracture. "The balance is still disrupted." Anubis replied, his face stricken with urgency. "Set as chaos remains, and it seeks to reclaim its hold." From the depths of the chasm, a dark laughter emerged, resonating with a haunting familiarity. Set materialized, a figure clad in shadows, his eyes gleaming like embers in the night. "Did you truly think you could vanquish me, Capri? Chaos is eternal, and I will not be denied." He gestured, and the walls of the hall trembled, the very fabric of reality warping as shadows erupted into twisted forms, monsters born of fear and despair. Capri's heart raced as he steadied himself. "I will not let you take this place, Set. This is the Hall of Two Truths, where honor prevails over chaos." With renewed determination, he prepared to fight again, but he felt the weight of despair creeping back. "Your past cannot be undone, Capri." Set taunted, summoning a legion of shadowy beasts that leapt forth, snarling and howling, their mouths filled with the anguished screams of the forgotten. "Every soul you saved is a reminder of your failures. I will unleash their pain upon you." The legion surged forward, a tide of darkness that threatened to engulf him. Capri's resolve wavered momentarily as memories of his past mistakes flooded back to life, lost clawing at his heart. But as he looked around, he saw the spirits of the innocent rising, their faces filled with hope and encouragement, strength radiating from their collective light. Capri felt their energy fill him, and he straightened, his spirit ignited. "You are wrong, Set. I am not defined by my failures. I am forged by my redemption." With a fierce cry, he charged into the fray, channeling the light of the spirits into his blade, illuminating the shadows that sought to consume him. "What? No, this cannot be!" Seth screamed, rage twisting his features as Capri struck down the first beast, the light bursting forth like a sun rising over the horizon, banishing the darkness in waves. With each monster he vanquished, the fissure in the hull began to close, the balance shifting as the feather of Mat glimmered with renewed strength. Anubis, joining the fray, combined his divine might with Capri's resolve, striking down chaos with the power of order. "Together, we're stronger," Anubis shouted, and Capri nodded, their weapons striking in perfect harmony, banishing the shadows, forcing Set to retreat. "No, you cannot defeat me." Set roared, his voice a tempest of fury. "I am chaos incarnate. I will return." "Perhaps, but today, you are vanquished," Capri declared, raising his sword high. The final blow struck Set's dark form, wrapping in a brilliance that filled the hall, blasting away the remnants of his chaotic essence. With a final, echoing howl, Set dissipated, leaving behind an emptiness that slowly filled with the light of redemption. The hall shimmered, the oppressive darkness finally lifting, revealing the truth of Mat as feather now balanced perfectly against Capri's heart. As the dust settled, the spirits of the departed gathered, united in their triumph. "Capri, Anubis, you have restored our honor," they cried, their voices a harmonious chorus echoing through the hall. Anubis, standing tall, regarded Capri with a mix of pride and solemnity. "You have faced your past and emerged stronger. Let this be a lesson. Truth can be a weapon, but it also bears the burden of honor." Capri, heart ablaze with newfound purpose, nodded. "I will continue to fight for those who cannot, and I will carry their memories where they reign eternal." As the spirits began to ascend, liberated from the chains of chaos and despair, Capri felt an overwhelming sense of peace wash over him. The Hall of Two Truths stood undiminished, a testament to the power of conviction, unity, and the undeniable strength of the human spirit. Yet, deep within the remnants of Set's chaos, a whisper lingered, an echo of a promise that the battle between order and chaos was far from over. The gods would watch as destinies intertwined, and in the endless cycle of life and death, new heroes would rise, prepared to face the eternal struggle between light and darkness once more. And thus, the sands of time shifted, marking the beginning of another chapter in the epic saga of the gods, where honor, sacrifice, and the quest for redemption would forever echo through the ages. The Hall of the Two Truths stood resolute amidst the swirling remnants of chaos, its ethereal glow illuminating the shadows that still lingered like whispers of the past. Anubis, the solemn god of the dead, surveyed the aftermath, his heart heavy with the weight of destiny. Yet hope flickered like stars in the night. Capri had vanquished Set, but the echoes of chaos still rippled through the fabric of Jirat. Stand tall, Kepri, Anubis urged, his voice steady as a mountain against the winds of despair. We have fought bravely, but the darkness is cunning, said a shadow may yet harbor remnants that seek to reclaim its dominion. Kepri, still catching his breath from the ferocity of battle, nodded gravely. The weight of his sword felt heavier now, a reminder of both his past and his promise for the future. Then let us not yield to complacency, Anubis. We must cleanse this hall of all remnants of Set's chaos. A fire ignited within him, fueled by the souls of the innocent that had guided him through the darkness. Yet as Kepri stepped forward, seeking to command the light and dispel the shadows, a tremor shook the very foundations of the hall. The air thickened with an ominous energy, a palpable reminder that the battle might be over, but the war was far from won. Foolish mortals, a voice roared from the depths, reverberating with malice. It was a voice both familiar and terrifying. Set had returned. Emerging from the fissures in reality, he appeared, not as a mere shadow, but as a titan of chaos, his form a swelling tempest of darkness, claws of despair grasping at the fabric of the hall. Did you think you could imprison me within the confines of your mortal judgments? Set hissed, his eyes glowing like dying embers. I will carve my dominion into eternity, and you shall be nothing but a haunting memory. Kepri's heart raced, yet he felt the resolve of the spirits at his back, their ethereal forms glowing with righteous fury. You will never hold sway over this place again. Set, the Hall of Two Truths will remain a sanctuary of honor and redemption. With that declaration, Kepri raised his sword, its blade shimmering with the essence of the souls he sought to protect. Anubis stood beside him, the ground beneath them thrumming with the pulse of justice. Together, we shall wield the light of truth against your incessant darkness, the god proclaimed, preparing to unleash his divine energy. As you wish, Set sneered, darkness coiling around his form like a serpent ready to strike. Let the gods and pharaohs clash, but know this chaos is a tapestry woven with the threads of your deepest fears. He lunged forward, unleashing a torrent of shadows that erupted like a storm. The hall quaked with the force of his wrath, and the air crackled with tension. Kepri and Anubis stood firm, channeling their strength into a radiant barrier, pushing back against the encroaching void. Now, Kepri, Anubis shouted, strike with the truth of your heart, let it guide your hand. Kepri felt the pulse of countless souls within him, the pain and hope intertwining like a symphony. He charged forward, sword raised, and as he swung, a brilliant arc of light sliced through the darkness. Set's shadowy form recoiled, the light searing his essence, but he laughed a chilling sound that echoed like thunder. Is that all you have? Set mocked, reforming himself with a flurry of shadows. You wield light like a child with a torch, face the true darkness that dwells within your own heart. Kepri faltered, memories of his past flooding back, the guilt, the regret, the faces of those he had failed. Doubt crept into his mind, a seductress whispering, Asterisk, you cannot escape your sins. Asterisk, but just as despair threatened to engulf him, a chorus of spirits surged within, their voices rising in defiance against the encroaching darkness. Remember us, they cried, their ethereal forms swirling around him, illuminating the shadows. We stand with you, honor our memories with your courage. With a fierce determination, Kepri pressed forward, his blade blazing with the light of truth. You will not claim dominion over my heart, Set. I am the pharaoh who learns from his past. He struck again, the blade connecting with the heart of darkness, illuminating the hall with a spectacular burst of light. Set howled, rage and pain intertwining as tendrils of shadow writhed in agony. You think you can defeat chaos? I am eternal. I will consume your light and extinguish your hopes. But as he spoke, another shadow emerged from the depths, a creature of legend, a beast forged in the fires of despair, its eyes glowing with a horrific luminescence. It was Apep, the serpent of chaos, summoned by Set's dark magic to aid his conquest. Together, we will crush your spirit. Apep hissed, lunging at Kepri with a speed that belied its massive form. The ground trembled as it approached, the air thick with dread. Anubis! Kepri shouted. We must not fight alone, our light must unite against this darkness. Indeed, stand firm, my warrior. Anubis commanded, raising his scepter high. I will channel the essence of the hall, and together we shall forge a weapon against this chaos. The air shimmered with divine energy as Anubis summoned the spirits, their collective might swirling around Kepri, coalescing into a radiant shield. As the serpent lunged, jaws filled with the promise of death, Kepri raised the shield, meeting Apep's attack head-on. The impact sent shockwaves through the hall, like clashing against darkness in a cataclysmic explosion. Kepri felt the power of every spirit surge through him, igniting his resolve. This is for every life lost, every soul seeking redemption, he roared, thrusting his sword deep into Apep's chest. As the blade pierced the serpent's heart, a brilliant light erupted, consuming the shadows and unraveling the chaos that had bound the hall. Apep writhed in agony, the light spreading to every corner of the Hall of Two Truths, illuminating the darkness even as it began to disintegrate. No! Set screamed, fury boiling over as he watched the embodiment of his chaos unravel. This cannot be, I am the harbinger of despair. But Khepri stood tall, emboldened by the spirit surrounding him. You are nothing but a coward hiding in the shadows. I will not let you tarnish this sacred place any longer. With one final thrust, he drove the sword deeper into Apep, unleashing the full power of the spirits and the truth that coursed through his veins. The hall erupted in blinding light, chaos disintegrating into nothingness as the darkness was banished, shattered like glass under the weight of light. The remnants of chaos faded, the hall quiet once more, a profound silence enveloping the chamber. Anubis lowered his scepter, his eyes filled with both pride and grief. You have faced darkness and emerged victorious, Khepri, but remember the battle between order and chaos is eternal. We must remain vigilant. Khepri, still catching his breath, felt the warmth of the spirits surrounding him, their luminous forms reflecting the hope he had fought to reclaim. I will carry their legacy, he vowed, looking into the heavens. No soul will ever walk this path alone again. As the spirits began to ascend, Khepri felt a sense of unity and purpose. Each soul he had honored, every memory he carried was a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. Yet as they transcended, a soft glow illuminated the hall, casting shadows that hinted at deeper secrets still buried beneath the surface. Anubis observed this with a knowing gaze. Duat is ever-changing, Khepri. New souls will arrive, new stories will unfold. Your journey has just begun. I will be ready, Khepri replied, determination etched across his face. For every soul that journeys here, I will stand as their protector. And so, the Hall of Two Truths resumed its sacred duty, a beacon of hope amidst the tapestry of existence. Khepri took his place alongside Anubis, the guardians of the balance between light and dark. Together, they would face new trials, new adversaries, and the eternal struggle for truth. But lurking in the depths of Duat, beneath the layers of chaos and order, remnants of Set's essence whispered of a time yet to come, an echoing promise that the battle between light and darkness would never truly end. In the mythic world where gods, heroes, and monsters intertwine, destiny awaited those brave enough to embrace their truth and carve their path through the annals of history. And thus, the saga continued, woven into the eternal fabric of existence, a tapestry of honor, sacrifice, and redemption echoing through the ages. A great stillness enveloped the Hall of Two Truths, the echoes of victory fading like whispers on the wind. Khepri stood before Anubis, the god of the dead, feeling the weight of the past on his shoulders and the promise of a brighter future in his heart. The spectral glow surrounding him pulsed with the energy of the freed souls, their ethereal forms dancing with gratitude and hope. Yet within this moment of triumph lay an uneasy truth. The remnants of Set's chaos still lingered in the shadows, a darkness that even Anubis could sense. Khepri, he said, his voice a deep rumble reminiscent of distant thunder, the balance is not yet restored. Set's chaos, although diminished, may rise again. We must prepare. Khepri turned, his gaze sweeping over the hall, where echoes of the battle still reverberated within the walls. Then let us establish safeguards, Anubis. We must strengthen the barrier between our realm and the chaos that seeks to consume it. With a solemn nod, Anubis raised his scepter high, the shining feather of Mat gleaming atop it. We will invoke the ancient rites, summon the spirits of the honored dead. Together, we will weave a tapestry of light that will shield this sacred ground. As the two gods began their incantations, the air thickened with palpable energy. The walls of the hall shimmered, and the flickering lights of the released souls grew brighter, swelling around them in a mesmerizing dance. Khepri felt their warmth and their unyielding faith in him, filling him with strength. Let the spirits guide us, he declared, his voice resounding through the hall. Let their light become our shield. Anubis channeled the ethereal energy into the walls, invoking the sacred words that had protected the realm for millennia. The ground rumbled as the barrier began to form, a luminous dome that pulsed with vibrant energy. We must remain vigilant, Anubis reminded, the weight of his words heavy in the air. Set will not rest until he claims dominion over all. Suddenly, a tremor shook the hall, an earthquake of chaos that rippled through the very foundation of Duat. The lights flickered, the barrier shimmering like a mirage. What is this? Khepri shouted, a chill running down his spine as the shadows began to coalesce into a silhouette of twisted malice. From the depths of the shadows emerged a figure cloaked in darkness, a being both terrifying and familiar. Set, his eyes glowing like molten gold, glared at them with unrestrained fury. Your feeble attempts to contain me are laughable, he bellowed, his voice echoing through the hall, twisting reality with its malevolence. I am chaos incarnate. You will never be rid of me. Khepri clenched his fists, the fire of defiance igniting within him. You may have returned, Set, but we will not yield to your darkness. This is a sanctuary of truth, and it will remain so. Sanctuary? Set sneered, dark tendrils reaching from his forearm, wrapping around the very walls of the hall. This is but a fleeting illusion. I will tear it apart, and you along with it. The ground shook violently as he unleashed a torrent of darkness that surged toward Khepri and Anubis like a tidal wave. Now, Khepri, stand firm. Anubis shouted, his voice authoritative and unwavering. With the weight of destiny upon him, Khepri summoned the light within, the essence of the spirits gathered around him. For the innocent, for every soul seeking redemption, he cried, thrusting his sword forward, channeling the brilliance of their energy into a radiant shield against the encroaching shadows. The darkness clashed against the light, the two forces colliding like titans on the battlefield. Khepri felt the overwhelming power of Set's chaos pushing against him, and the ground beneath him trembled as shadows clawed at his armor. I will not falter, he roared, drawing on the strength of his ancestors, the courage of every soul who had fought for honor. Anubis stood resolute by his side, his scepter aglow with the divine light of truth. Together, we are force unyielding, he proclaimed, and the barrier shimmered, reflecting the intensity of their combined strength. As the darkness pressed closer, Khepri advanced, pushing against Set's shadowy form with all his might. You are but a memory, Set, a nightmare that shall be vanquished, he shouted, the spirit of the fallen warrior surging through him, igniting his every strike. With each swing of his sword, Khepri illuminated the darkness, casting aside the lingering shadows that clung to Set's essence. The hall erupted in a blinding brilliance, illuminating every corner, pushing back against the chaos that sought to consume it. Your light is but a flicker. Set hissed, summoning dark creatures from the depths of despair. They lunged at Khepri, grotesque forms writhing in malicious delight, their eyes glimmering with the remnants of lost souls. Anubis, Khepri shouted, desperate as the creatures surged forward. We must banish these remnants of chaos. Together, we can dispel them. Then let us strike as one. Anubis commanded, raising his scepter high. By the power of Maat, I bind you to the void. Energy swelled around him, and the spirits of the honored dead coalesced into a brilliant storm of light. Khepri felt the surge of power as they charged together, sword and scepter striking in unison against the dark creatures. For every soul lost, for every cry unheard, we shall reclaim this hall. Khepri shouted, his voice resonating through the tumultuous air. The creatures shrieked as the radiant light engulfed them, unraveling their forms into wisps of shadow that dissipated into nothingness. Khepri pressed forward, his heart pounding as he and Anubis flanked Set, their combined strength forcing him to retreat. You think you can banish me? Set spat, fury twisting his features. I am chaos. I will return again and again, until this world is mine. Then we will be ready, Khepri declared, determination blazing in his eyes. You will never claim this realm while we stand guard over it. But Set's laughter echoed ominously, a chilling herald of danger. Let the gods and pharaohs clash, Khepri. I will weave my chaos through your very bones and turn your victories into ash. As the words left his lips, the shadows around Set thickened, swelling into a vortex that threatened to engulf the hall. Anubis and Khepri stood firm, the barrier around them shimmering and flickering as they focused their energy against the encroaching darkness. Anubis, we must reinforce the barrier, Khepri urged, his voice steady against the tempest. Indeed, Anubis replied, channeling the energy of the spirits into a radiant pulse that surged through the walls. Stand resolute, Khepri, we must not yield to despair. Khepri nodded, feeling the trust of the spirits envelop him like a warm embrace. But for every life that fought for honor, we will stand. With a final cry of defiance, Khepri charged forward, sword raised high, the light of truth illuminating his path. He will not win this day, Set, for I fight not only for myself, but for every soul that yearns for peace. Set howled, his form shifting and writhing as Khepri closed the distance between them. You are a fool, he spat, tendrils of chaos darting toward Khepri like vipers. Your light will never conquer my darkness. But Khepri was undeterred. Channeling the strength of the spirits, he surged forward, slicing through the tendrils with his blade, each strike resonating with the cries of the fallen. I will not fall to your deception, she roared, striking at Set's core. The sword pierced through the darkness, light erupting like a supernova, illuminating the hall, banishing the shadows once and for all. Set screamed, a sound that echoed through the ages as the essence of chaos unraveled before the onslaught of light. As the brilliance consumed him, Khepri felt the weight of his past life replaced by the fervor of hope and redemption. Anubis stood beside him, a feather of magic aglow with the essence of truth, a testament to their victory over despair. But the land was still, and a silence lingered in the air, heavy with the echoes of what had transpired. "We have faced chaos and emerged victorious," Khepri said, his voice filled with reverence. "But we must remain vigilant. The battle may be over, but the war is eternal." Anubis nodded solemnly, gazing upon the remnants of chaos that dissipated like mist in the morning sun. "You are wise, Khepri. The balance between order and chaos is a dance as old as time itself. We must be guardians of this truth." From the shadows emerged the spirits of the fallen, their forms shimmering with gratitude. "Khepri, you have honored us today," they echoed, their voices a gentle